I think that's pretty good stuff. Take it, take it. It's smaller, then I can push it right through. Is this all right? Yeah. I can talk.
How are you?
Not too well, actually. Actually, I'm great. I'm great. Great audience. I'm not, being on the street all those years, I'm not used to bright lights like this, but you're great.
I was in New York, and bright lights go from the cop cars, you know.
Right.
Not in Central Park, I mean.
Yeah, I'd like to show you, very often between performances I sit down and take a rest, but people would come up to me and talk to me and ask me to teach them something, some sort of rope trick or something. So let me teach you one. This is about tying a knot. Tie a knot. Okay. Right, now you notice when you did that, you had to let one end go.
Right.
Okay. When you pull it, right, okay. For some reason, every time I try to make a knot, it just doesn't work.
Whoa!
And I'll.
See that? I thought I saw that.
I was kidding, but look, I'll do it legitimately. But it just doesn't. It just doesn't go. I'll try it. For some reason, I'm a very skilled fellow, but what if I try to do two of them? Let's see. Oh, that should be successful. That should be pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty. No, this isn't working. I've got an idea. Perhaps if I pretend I'm a little boy learning to tie his shoes, that's got to stay, because you know these kids do this. You know they like to do that. They do things like this, and then it never comes out. Ugh. And this is never coming out. That's just get a little. You can pull on it. It's all right. It's secure. That's secure. That's secure. With me, it still doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I don't know what the hell is going on. Now, I've never been able to tie a knot with two hands, but I can pretty much do it with one hand. Let's see. Let me give this a shot. It's a little long, but so I do that. And you should get one hand I can do. One hand, two, forget it. Impossible. That's it. Now, no, do me a favor and tie your knot again. Great. Now, of course, what I was doing before were the slip knots. I'll show you how to make one. In fact, I'll show you where you can do it without even letting the ends go. It's over here, so you can follow now. No? Here, there. But it's not real. It's not real. Let's do this again. It's only, but it's false. Here, hold on. It's actually slip. Hold on. You just give it a pull. Pull. Oh shit! This is. Now for the explanation of my swan leg rope. Actually, the techniques that are employed in the routine are ancient, and to the best of my knowledge, they were developed by people like Edward Victor, George Sands, Carl Germain, and probably some people whose names no one remembers anymore. In any event, what I've added to it is a certain style and choreography which kind of makes the thing effective. Essentially, you're using the classic gimmick of a short piece, of a secret short piece, okay? And the way the setup works is this: you've folded the rope like that. The short piece goes over the center. Okay. One short end is tucked in. One of the long ends is tucked in. And you display what appears to be one long piece of rope tied like that, okay? Now, you begin by grabbing one end of the long piece undoing that overhand knots containing the short piece just slightly, and as you pull out one end, so you like that, and then you let the rope drop. And as far as the audience knows, you've got just one long piece of rope. The next phase, which I kind of like to begin by twirling the rope. That's one of my choreographic elements. What's nice about that is that, first of all, in addition to being very, very pretty, it actually kind of subliminally tells the audience that the rope is strong and solid. Okay. Now you do this thing, which I believe is an Edward Victor technique, by switching the ends as you apparently tie an overhand knot to make a continuous loop of rope. What you're actually doing is switching the short end for the long one. You tie an overhand knot, and then a false piece, as you can see there, which leaves you with a secret space. Okay. If you want, you can pretend to pull the rope through your hands, but you're actually moving the knot further away from the cut, like that. Boom. See, like that. In any event, you're in this position now. Now you do a classic move of the pretending cutting of the rope with the fingers. Okay. And essentially, all that is placing the fingers close to the rope like that, and as you make a cutting motion with the left fingers, you just drop that rope. So now you're in this position. Okay. The audience. That's what the audience sees. You now lay the rope over the fingers in that position. You see that? It's just clipped. It's laid over the first three fingers, and it's clipped by the pinky. Okay, and you make a gesture like the choreographic element is up, boom. See how this is held just in front of the body, and I go, boom. Now you grab this, and it's a very clean way of getting from one end to the other. Boom. Now you've got the short piece here. All right, you make sure you position that right. You undo the knot with, of course, the bottom part concealed. And you're actually opening the short piece, which looks like like a short piece that was severed from the other piece of rope, but you've actually got that. See how that's looped? Okay. Now another aspect, you don't just take the rope up. What you do is you stand there and you go, ship. That makes it a bit more elegant. Now you display, you grab that like that. If you want, you can face them, right? You've got this kind of symmetry here. You do that. Make sure you hold on to the loop securely so you don't knock it out of your hand. You go like that, like it's solid, and then you just relax and draw the rope through your hands, which gives the illusion that the small rope is stretching. Okay, now you pause. Right, now you don't, instead of dropping both ends down, I like to do it one at a time because, again, it's more elegant and it's more clear about what's happened. You've got the original long piece, and you've got the short piece, which is now long. You see, that emphasizes that point. Okay? All right, now if you want, no one's going to notice it. You can just sort of straighten the ropes up. You can make that short rope a little more even. All right. Now you do another classic move. The first time I've ever seen it described is in a book by Carl Germain with a ribbon, but essentially it's a slip knot that's being brought over a short piece. All right. You turn the hand palm to the audience, go between the ropes, take the rope that's in front, give it a twist and put it over that, go there, and make sure that you take the loop and bring it behind the point where the short piece is engaging the long piece. Now you'll feel which end of the long rope is going to slip it forward, and you pull it and just do that. So you're there, okay? Bingo. So now you're in that position here. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to engage the shorter piece of the long rope, pull it up and let it drop and display the rope in that position. So once again, it's sort of the choreography that makes the whole thing clear and elegant. Boom, I'm there. Right? Now I step with my left foot, I step on the bottom part of the rope, the long rope, and I show. Okay? Now what you can do, you can, if you wish, to vanish the knot, you can grab one end of the rope, but I don't like to do that because it kind of tips the whole setup. So what I do is I grab both ends of the short piece and I move forward so I conceal both ends. So at this point, they're starting to get a bit disoriented as to what's going on, and then I come up here and pretend to take some wiffle dust and throw it on the end. That also takes the heat off. You drop one end, pull that through, and what you've got left is a slip knot, but they just think that it's slowly coagulating to one rope because they don't see the ends, and then boom, and then of course That's your applause position. You pause for the applause, and now dramatically, to bring it up, the applause up again, you take the rope. You don't just take it like that. You take the rope this way and you swing it around and you pause. And that's your finishing position. Boom. Okay. The next phase of the routine is the jumping ends effect. Now, for the jumping ends, you're doing something similar to the end for end switch, but instead of going end for end forward, which engages the short piece over the long piece, you're actually going away from yourself. You're going the opposite direction. You see that? But of course, the forefinger has to engage both pieces against each other. They kind of crisscross the short piece under the long piece. So in this case, I'm here. You don't want to go too far down. You go about that far down. As you're supposedly tying it, you switch the ends this way, which gives you that situation. So basically, you've actually got the short piece kind of doubled over in the middle here, and that, okay, now you're there. Well, one more time for that. You can try to maybe take it a bit further down, so that way, when you end up with the short pieces there, it's a little bit more centered. Now watch here, right here, boom. You do that. That's good enough. Now they still don't understand what's going on, but now you're going to give the illusion that you're sort of moving the rope between your hands. So what you really like this. Okay, now what it looks like is this. It just looks like that you're stretching the rope and you brought the end to that side. Got it? Yeah. Now what you want to do is make those ends jump over to the right. Now the way I like to do it, the thing I added to this thing is the misdirection. You should only be looking at the left on your left, which has the short ends. You see that? What I do is I bring one end down, and I squeeze. And as I'm squeezing here, without looking at the right hand, I let that appear. That gets a laugh. See, and that's basically this. Look what's happening. I just go bop. Okay. So once you're here, it's bop. It's like, oh. You say, what's going on here? Now, it's very important that you keep the eye in the left hand, and you drag the rest of the short piece, the other end of the short piece, into your hand, forming a kind of a small little ball, which you have sort of in the top part of your fingers. All right. Now you look here, but now it's very important that you make this movement with your eyes and your head, because that's going to bring the audience's attention from the left hand to the right hand. Oh, watch this. You go, and also like you don't do it. You kind of do it in a graceful manner. In the hands like this position. You go. As soon as your eyes go here, you let go, and then without looking at this hand, you let go. Now the attention's here. See? Now you engage. Now you grab to make sure there's no heat on this hand. Now you grab it, and you just display the rope that way. Right? Fine. Boom. All right. Now the another phase which I've added, which is a very clever way of getting rid of that. Now I use a shoulder bag, but I keep my scissor in. Or if you want, you can have it in your pocket, or you can have it on a chair that's out of people's sight. Essentially, I'll go into my shoulder bag or my pocket, and I'll go with the extra piece. I'll go for the scissor. I'll leave the scissor behind. I'll leave the piece behind, the short piece, and I'll grab the scissor and bring the scissor forward. So now you're clean because you've gotten rid of the gimmick. Now I like to another little touch. You can just pick up and do a trick, but to me it's sloppy. I'm right-handed, so I change hands, and as if to display the rope and the scissors like that. In a very relaxed, elegant fashion. Okay. I take this, and sometimes I'll even give this a little toss. It gives it kind of an airy feeling to it. And what I'll do is I'll take the rope, and I'll place it in the same hand that contains the scissor, but I'll place it in such a manner that the rope, about 3-4 inches, the rope crosses the large part of the scissor handle. See that? There, like this. I'll just kind of do that, like almost like I'm kind of still acknowledging the people. Now you're there. Now what you're going to be doing from that point is pushing that end through. You're going to do it with the thumb. As soon as you're at that point, the finger just flicks it through. Now the way I cover, what I added to it, my covering action, the misdirection that I've developed, is as you're here. All right, you can begin it now. You don't do it now. You just begin pushing the rope through. I grab the rope from this position, and I do a kind of a theatrical gesture of kind of displaying the rope one more time. But of course, what's happening is, as I'm here, I begin. I don't do it yet, but it's halfway. I grab it as I do this twirling motion. That's the motion to push it through. All right, so you've got misdirection, but you've actually got a dramatic, an apparent dramatic covering purpose. See? All right, now you're inside. Now that sets you up for the classic ring penetration, which is done with a scissor, which I think is more effective. The earliest recollection that I have of learning it was in a book I read years ago by Peter Wallach. Now, whether it was his or not, I don't know. It was an old Will Gulston book. In any case, but it was taught to me by a really nice magician named Senor Moro back in '74. And after that, I ran with it. Okay, it's here. Now what you're going to do, you've got to make a loop. It's a legitimate loop in the rope, just by tying the rope that way. See it? I'll show you from the performer's perspective. You go left over right, and you just twist. It's a genuine knot. All right. So when you end up in this position, yeah. So that now once you're there, you can you close it so it's about that width. You don't need it any smaller or larger. All right. Now what you're going to do is you're supposedly throwing the scissor at the bottom end of the loop with the idea of penetrating it. Now what's really happening is this. All right, now you bend this in order to, now you could throw it this way, but there's no way of being certain if you're going to land there. So what I like to do is I like to bend the left hand and grab the loop up here to make it secure so it can't move anywhere. Now the right hand, which remember still has the scissor threaded on it, throws the scissor without letting that end go. You throw the scissor through the loop, and when you do that, you get this optical illusion. Boom. Because what's really happening is that you're actually displacing the position of the rope. But anyway, and that's a killer effect. See that? Bingo. Okay, now don't do what many people that I've seen do this routine do that effect, whether it's with a scissor or more generally they use a ring. They make the mistake of tightening the loop as soon as it goes through. If you do that, there's no trick. There's no illusion. All it looks like is that you executed a false knot. So that's not good. The illusion is in maintaining the circle as close as possible. The trick is in maintaining the dimension of the loop throughout the whole effect. If that thing gets smaller, you got no tricks. It has to be. You can get a little larger, but not get smaller. Okay. Boom. You see. And if it's a little larger, then just assume that somehow that the pressure of the scissor expanded a little bit, okay? But in any case, that's your illusion. Now, the choreographic thing I added to it, you pause, okay? You pause, and you don't disengage the scissor yet. You take the scissor and you go, and you're proving that it's solid, it's really on there, because they think it's a cut maybe. So that's on there. And now another choreographic element that I use is I grab it, and I bring the whole business end for end, and I display it like this. See that? See, it's all about lines. See that? And now, I don't go and I just take it. Now that's pretty loose. If you haven't tightened it, it's going to come right out. All I have to do now is retain the hold of the scissor and pull that, and it disengages. And now you come with this hand, boom, and that gives you kind of a finishing position. It is kind of a applause position. All right, that's the end of that part of the routine. Now the last phase of the routine is a participation current restored effect with the spectator. And what we're going to do is, now normally you could hand the scissor out to somebody, but because of my character, it may or may not fit you, but it's optional. I take the scissor and I balance it across my wrist. Okay. Now if you've got a fairly sizable scissor, which you should have, to make the routine pretty. It'll stay across and not topple over, all right? Now I walk and I approach a woman in the audience, okay, and I engage. Now you can either do that, or you can do, if the scissors are secure, you can do that. All right. Now, at this point, you're going to perform the classic methods for the current restored rope, which is to grab the bottom of the rope here. You come up, and these two, the first and second finger of the right hand, clip the left hand piece, the left hand side of the rope, and you bring it up like that. All right? That's, once you're in that position, then you offer for the woman to cut, right? And she cuts it. You drop the two pieces that are going towards the right side of your hand, which leaves you in that position. You've got a short piece with a long piece hanging over it. Okay, and they think that the woman's cut the rope in half. All right? Okay, fine. Now what you want to do is you don't restore it now because you've got a chance for to get involved with some comedy. You begin the unequal rope routine. You grab the rope, you go like this, and you emphasize the fact that the ropes are uneven. All right? And now you ask her, you do that, but it's just as she's about to cut, you move this part of the rope towards yourself and you move the loop down. Now she cuts that. And now when you straighten out the rope, it appears instead of evening the rope out, somehow she's made one side longer. That gets a laugh, all right? So you're actually in that position. Now you do this a second time, and in this case, what's going to happen is, even though it's the same movement, you emphasize the fact that you want to cut even. So that, all right, now as she's doing that, you move the loop down again, and it's come down again, see? Now you're there. Now the finale is that you tie what apparently appears to be the two pieces together, but it's actually the short piece. You show that and you pull it, show it's secure. Now you make a gesture of asking for the scissor back. Now normally most people always hand it with the sharp end towards you, which is good because you have a chance for a piece of comedy. And you bring your hand back. Well, no, you do it again. She's probably not going to realize it until the third time. So you do it a second time. So finally, and you go. She's probably going to. If she doesn't realize, then you say, then she'll turn the scissors around. All right, and all these little points are what really make the trick. Now you take the rope. You take the scissor. Now with the same hand that holds the scissor, you go along the rope, and you hand that piece to her. All right, now you can either retain this scissor in this hand, or you can put it away in your pocket, or any thing you want to do. All right, now you make a gesture, you make these kind of theatrical gestures, really displaying the rope to the audience. Okay, finally you grab the knot, you just put your hand around the knot into a fist, and you blow your fist, as if to say, and then you hand it out as though that's what she's supposed to do. She blows it, and you react surprised. You act in a surprised way that the knot hasn't vanished. And now this time you just visibly go, look. You point like, come on, blow it. She does that. You do it a third time. It hasn't happened. And this time you react as though that she blew right into your eye. And that'll get a laugh. Now, for the finale, you come back. You come back, you straighten the rope out. You look at it contemplatively. You can't understand why it hasn't vanished. And then you get an idea. You grab the knot and you move it towards yourself. And you look. You don't look at the knot. You look at the point where the rope was knotted. And you realize that there's nothing there. That gets a laugh, and you just toss it off to that and toss it out, and then shake the person's hand. Now I'll give you the explanation of the secret behind my presentation of the cigarette in the coat effect. I say mine because, believe it or not, the cigarette in the coat routine is actually mine. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not crazy enough to think that in the entire history of the thumb tip, no magician ever thought to stick it in anything other than a handkerchief. But I do claim that the status that it now holds as a classic of magic is largely due to yours truly. Because back in 1972, while performing on Fifth Avenue, on the street of course, on Fifth Avenue, during a performance of the cigarette and hanky, I had accidentally left my handkerchief home, and after I had done my whole rigmarole about borrowing a cigarette and blah 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 blah, I realized I didn't have it. So I just ad-libbed the whole concept of borrowing somebody's coat and doing it. And it was about maybe 6 months during the year of 1972 that I finally pieced together the routine that you saw me do on the video, which includes all the shtick, which is borrowing the pack of cigarettes and not handing it back, only handing the cigarette and keeping the pack, and all the other shtick about grabbing the cup with the best material and looking at the label and not thinking much of the quality and praying to God. All that stuff is what makes the trick. As far as I'm concerned, the trick is almost negligible. What is important is the presentation. This is important in any trick, but it's really like a character piece. The whole point of the cigarette in the coat is to engage the public with the personality of the performer, you see. However, there are certain technical aspects which you should know. After the cigarette has been borrowed, right, of course it's borrowed unlit, okay, but we've lit it to save time. After the cigarette is borrowed, you go into your pockets, supposedly looking for a match, but what you're really doing is you're picking up a thumb tip, which is already there. So obviously, you've eliminated the need to do some sort of secret steal. You go in and you just pick up a thumb tip. You continue to look like you can't find it. So finally, some gentleman in the audience lights a cigarette for you. So you've got that. Now, if you've gone around the audience, as you've seen in the tape, of me looking to find the best material, supposedly, I take the coat here, and I display it. And once again, the choreographic elements are the main thing. Look, you stand here, boom. Now the cigarette's in your mouth. You spread out the coat, show it. Right? You go through the business of checking and reaffirming the fact that it's good material. But you go like this, a gesture looking at the label. It doesn't matter whether there's a label there or not. Most people know that labels are there. You look at the label and you go, oh, you make a gesture like, not that good. That gets a laugh. Now you're here. Now you've loaded the tip. All right. Now you show the cigarette. And by the way, if no one has a full pack of cigarettes and there's only somebody smoking a cigarette, sometimes it might even be better. You lose the gag of not handing back the pack, but you gain the advantage of the fact that probably most of the cigarettes are already smoked down to the butt, which makes the technique for sticking it in the thumb tip much easier. Anyway, but you don't stick it in directly. What you do is you kind of make a threatening gesture that you're going to burn their coat, but instead of actually putting it in, you lower the coat. You look towards them. You do it, lower it, do it, lower it, do it, lower it. And the audience is starting to guess now as to whether or not you were going to do this thing. But anyway, so you do it, you drop it in. Now, depending upon the brand of the cigarette, some of them will smoke up more or less. Now, if it does smoke up, if you just squeeze the tip, and any tip will work except for a metal one. You can use a vernet, you can use a rubber tip. If you just squeeze a bit, you'll get it's almost like sending smoke signals. This is good because it gives the illusion that the material is burning, you see. Right, so now what you do is very openly, you do this, you don't put your thumb in. You take your first finger, you stick it in, you put the second finger in, the thumb goes in, but then you don't stop, you continue with the other fingers again. Now the tip is here, but the attention's here. You rub, and now the right hand with the thumb underneath the coat grabs the top part of the coat. You're looking, you pause, and you address the audience on all sides. And whether you're working on the street or in a cabaret or any place, it's very important to do that. All right, because you're making a bigger issue out of the whole business. You rub here, it vanishes. You pause, and you don't just take the coat. You take it, you kind of toss it up. The tip's not going to fall off. You toss that coat up. Voila, and you display. That's your. Now you drape it. I drape the coat over the right hand, over the thumb, and the two middle fingers, and without saying it, this gives you a very nice finishing position. It's kind of nicely choreographed, but you're also subliminally saying that both hands are empty. You see, so it's like this. You finish here, boom, and now what I'd like to add to it, I like to add a little piece of business when I'm handing back the coat. I don't hand it back right away. I actually hand the coat back with the hand that has the thumb tip on it. I make a gesture to hand it back, but I don't hand it back, and I open the coat and I show it to the other side of the audience, as if to say to them, like, look, it's really restored. You do that. You go back to the owner again. You go this way to another person, and they finally say, okay. They do one more time, boom. It's like, and then they finally, now, if this is done right, more often than not, the person will grab his coat back, which will be another laugh. He just grabs it back and like that. In any case, it's a cute gag. The Al Baker diminishing cards. That was the Al-Baker diminishing cause I just performed. In my opinion, it's the best of all the versions that exist. This is what the gimmick looks like. See it? You'll notice that there are actually 4 separate packets of cards. Each packet has been cut into a kind of a upside-down L shape, and they've been threaded so you can fan them. And that's what it looks like from the front. See that? Each one of them is built along the same process. See that? And there are also clips to engage each fan, so you can't push it to the right side, only to the left. Okay? It's 1. Here's the second one. 2. 3. And the 4th one. And you notice they're all riveted at the bottom, so you really don't need a manipulative skill to fan them. However, you need a good deal of skill to do the trick effectively. And I believe the method that I've come up with, I think, is the best handling of all. Look at. Now, normally the trick was done by just kind of like pulling the packets away, either with the hand or with a card in front of it. This is not effective. It's not good magic. You want to give the illusion of the pack shrinking successively, actually shrinking down by the power of the hands. And the way I do that is this. After the first fan, you've got to be careful because sometimes the threading isn't done that well, so you have to make sure that you compensate for any defects in the manufacture. So you actually try to fan it somewhat the way you were fanning a pack of cards, even though the pack is threaded. You can see that. Boom. Okay. No, a little window doesn't matter. No one can see that, but just try to get them as close as you can. All right. Now, after you display the first fan, you close it, and what you do is you place the entire pack in the fingers in a vertical position that way, and you pretend to squeeze. You don't squeeze. You can start this way, but you have to end up by squeezing in this position because that's going to justify this movement. Watch. Now, there's the audience. It's squeeze, squeeze, and then on the last squeeze, the right hand actually engages the top packet, and the left thumb swings the remaining packets that are behind to the left, revealing that size. But after a slight pause, you immediately fan that one. You see that? So it looks like that. Put it up. Squeeze that way, but then the last 2 or 3 squeezes are done vertically parallel to the top pack. And you just turn that to the side and then engage the new top pack. Right now, the heat is here now. So while the heat's still there, the hand goes to the right pocket and removes a playing card that's been placed there, so that you can compare the difference in size and how far it's shrunk so far. See that? This is placed back in the pocket, and however, this movement is slightly different for the second stage. After it's been closed, you don't do this. What you do it this way. You pretend to squeeze sideways, and then you do the same pull-off movement with this packet with this second slice in a vertical position. Then you just do that. Don't make any attempt to palm it. Just hold it there. No one knows it's there. And then you fan with what's left of the fingers here. You just fan that packet. Now it's only when you get to that point. Now that the heat is there, now you push in and thumb palm that packet. So now the hand is in a more relaxed position, and it's good to do that at this point because since the second diminishes basically a repeat, the audience is going to be suspecting this hand more. But now the fact that the fingers can be open because of the smaller packet, once again, you're dispelling that idea. You see that? Boom. Squeeze, squeeze. Lift that off. You have enough room with the fingertips, even though you're holding this here, to spread that. And then you immediately go into, as a gesture, you kind of go into thumb palm. All right? Now, once again, the hand goes here to get the card, but actually to deposit the second packet, and you can make your comparison. Okay? Put that away. Now, the third one's actually quite easy. You don't really have to do any palming. All I do is, it's so small that you once again, you hold it vertically towards the ceiling and palming it this way off. It's the same technique as the second stage, but in this case, all you need to do is just to to push the bottom 3 fingers back, and then fan it with the last packet with the finger and the thumb, the first finger and the thumb. See it? There's nothing to it. But by this time, they're pretty much convinced that you're actually shrinking the cards, and they've already seen, and by the second time they've seen the fingers open, so no one's really looking anymore. So you do that, you pretend to squeeze, you're just grabbing this, and then just bringing those fingers in. You it's not even a finger palm. You just squeeze it back into the top part of the hand, and just you don't make any attempt to palm it. Not necessary, because you can point. Right, now you go for the card, deposit that, show that, and the last one. The last one, all I do is, after I squeeze, I just kind of push it to the left. Right, and these 2 fingers, actually classic palm, but these 2 fingers push it into the classic palm. But as I do that, I keep the hands close together, and immediately bring these 2 fingers here. All right. It's almost hard to describe the action, but I'll try. Look, you do this. Remember, your eyes should always be on the left-hand fingers. You do that. As soon as it's helpful. You can kind of slide it. You can kind of slide the little packet along the edge of the thumb if you wish, a little bit, and then into the. So it's kind of, and then you immediately bring the right hand first and thumb together with the left. And you do it just for a second. And now what you do is, now of course since they're classic, you just drop the hand and relax the hand with the fingers open, and the attention's there, and the cards are gone. Now I'll teach you the technique and the presentation for my encore effect, the vanishing or reappearing water. Basically what you're using again is our old friend the thumb tip. The only difference in this case, you're using a soft rubber one, which are now widely obtainable. It's a soft rubber one. I think mine is a Japanese make. In any case, this is also in your pocket. If you're right-handed, it's in your right pocket, and you've got it there alongside the Vernet. I use Vernet, the solid one. And the fact that one's soft and one's hard, it's very easy to know which one to pick up. So after you've done the coat routine, it doesn't matter whether you want to deposit the Vernet with a cigarette butt in it back in the pocket or not, because you're going to know the difference. Anyway, when you get to the end of your act, even if you want to follow the cigarette in the coat with the water, it doesn't matter, because the effect is so totally different. Nobody associates the principle. Now the way that I do it is this. What I do is usually this is done as a street trick. So if you're in a park or in a place like that, there's always somebody drinking a can of beer or a can of soda or something like that. Those will all pour pretty well. What you want to avoid are bottles, because bottles have a tendency to pour kind of out. They don't pour straight down unless there's very little left of the bottle. If the bottle's halfway full or a little more, it's going to go out, so forget it. What you want is like a cup in it, and if you in a situation like you're at a bar or maybe you're at a party, if you can plant your own cup of water or beer or whatever, so much the better. And if you do plant the cup, let it be a soft paper cup or that you can kind of bend. This way, with the crease, you're going to get a very good pour. Now, in any case, the way to load the tip is this. After you finish your last presentation, you're standing there or you're talking to somebody, or they think the show is over, you're just relaxing, you load the tip on, all right? Then you just appear very relaxed, and you happen to notice that there's a cup of water. Now, as you apparently see the cup, you point and you say, like that. Okay, now your hand's in this position. Now, your eyes are on the cup, not on your hand. As you go forward to reach for it, you don't reach with your left hand, you reach with your right hand. But what you do is, your right hand passes your left hand and it steals the thumb tip. Right? So they've seen both hands empty. So now you're there. Okay. Now you make a big thing. What you can do is, instead of drinking it, you might kind of smell and go, ooh, what is this stuff? That's a little joke. Now with the tip of this left hand, you balance the cup or the can or what have you on top of that hand. So now you're clean. Now you take it, you squeeze the cup a bit, and oddly enough, you don't have to pour much. You can make a thimble full of water look like a larger volume if you do this right. You can start here. You start close to the hand. As you pour, you come up a little bit. It's very similar to the way Marvin Roy pours the milk into the paper cone to do the vanishing milk. But anyway, you do that. You don't need much more. If you want more than that, you can just give it a little bit more. It's important to come up so they'll see that it's going in. Now, after you do that, you immediately come down as though. Remember, your hand is supposed to be nothing but a normal hand, so you're doing to make sure that the water doesn't fall out. Now you go over to the spectator. They hold it. Now you bring their hand down. Now as misdirection, you look at them, and it's good to sort of bring the hand in front. All you do as you do that, you just steal it off the. You steal it out of the fist. What you don't want to do is to jab your finger in because you don't want the water shooting out. That's why you don't put more than about a thimbleful. You come out. Okay, now you're here. Now what you can do. Is grab the person's wrist. By doing that, you're actually securing the tip. They don't feel it because they're so engaged. And you're also blocking it from you're blocking the tip from the view of a good portion of the audience. Anyway, your eyes are here. You vanish it, boom, like that. And now what you want to do, you want to reach up to a person. You go into their shirt. I'll go into my own shirt. You reach in and you go in, of course, with the back of the hand, not like, and you reach in and you go into the shirt. As you do that, this is what happens. You clip the tip at the bottom with these fingers, then you get into finger position. It's not even a palm, you're just gripping it. Now, the fact that it's rubber is going to aid you in the squeezing of it out. Now you give it a turn, boom, and make sure it's about half a foot away from the cup so they see it go in. Now you can actually thumb palm it, boom, and you're here for a second. And now you don't have to do anything else. And that's that. This next routine I'm about to describe to you is essentially a routine of trick knots. The justification for it is the fact that even though you're a clever guy, you can cut and restore ropes and do all kinds of strange things and stretch them. For some strange reason, you've never learned how to tie a knot in a rope, and you demonstrate this in several ways through the use of several ancient knot tricks. The first one is just the vanishing knot. You do that one, and this, as you might already know, is instead of bringing the loop that way, you make the loop away from your body. You pinch it there, you bring it through there, and as you pull, you just let it go. It's very effective, very clean. The second one is a rather very clean approach to the classic vanishing knot effect, but it's done with the pump facing up. You engage the rope here. You bring around those two fingers. You hold it there. This hand grabs this part of the rope, apparently pushes it through. Actually, you're not pushing it through nothing, so you don't even have a loop. You see, that looks like a loop, but actually, all you've done is curve it around like that. You push this through. You hold that position. As that comes through, they think it's sort of like a donut type thing. You're actually pushing. You push, and you're getting a bite, and you push it through, and then release the thumb. You see. So what you really got is that. Boom. Okay, I'll do that one more time quickly. This, and you say, no, I finally did it. Oh my God, I haven't done it. I'll try it another time. Look, perhaps if I make two knots, I might be more successful. That they'll stay. All right. Now, what you're really doing here is what's known as the Cephalo knot. Cephalo, the illusionist, didn't invent it, but it was ascribed to him. What's really going on is this. You're making two loops and then threading them. The first one is made by crossing the right end over the left end. All right, then you bring the left end towards yourself and through. You make it that way. And the second one, the top one, is done the opposite way. You got the left going over the right, and you bring that through. Okay, there's nothing tricky about it. It's just the way you position it. And now what you want, you make sure that doesn't. Now you take this, when you go towards yourself and away from yourself through the bottom loop, and you go around, and you go through the top. And you don't pull it all the way toward, you just pull it to about that position. Now, even though it's not a real knot, it'll hold because of the way it's intertwined. You see that? If you pull it, that just goes. Now they prove a second time, and here's how the last vanishing knot goes. See that? The rope is draped over the palm like that. the end that's away from you is brought towards yourself and looped over the first two fingers. Now this hand pulls that back, the hands face it, it clips that other thing, both hands, and you've got your bow. Now with your hands remaining palm up, they go in, the thumb of the first finger go into it and bring that out. And then if you want, you can add as many as you want, nothing's going to change. Now the nice thing about this, that they can pull on it, it's fairly tight, but if you pull it all the way, it's going to come out. That's the last knot there. Okay, now you say, well, no chance. But you know what? I've never been able to tie a knot with two hands like most people, but I can tie a knot with one hand. Now you do what's known as the knot toss. Now this is a lot less complex in the description. However, it's very hard to execute, and there's a certain way to do it. Now, ideally, the rope actually shouldn't be as long to touch the floor. If I have a scissors, I either cut it, or I can just bunch this up in my hand a bit to make it a touch, so it's not touching the floor. Because you don't want to go so high. You want to have your hand like that. In any event, what you want to do, you've got to imagine that the rope is not a rope, that the rope is a stick. Okay? And let's say that it was a stick, and the stick is either being held by a person or it's being held by a string. Now you've got to imagine that that's a rigid piece of wood, a stick. And what the hand is going to do, the hand is not going to jerk the rope. That's what most people never get it, even magicians, because they think they've got to jerk the rope. You don't jerk the rope. You keep the rope stationary in space, right? And this hand with the first finger extended moves in an arc instead of a half arc, and hits the middle of the rope. So when you do that, look what's going to happen. You see how that flips it? So you're going like this. Right? Now it's this. Boom. That wants to flip it. Now, of course, if you're going to bring the top with you, look what's going to happen. Boom. And that's going to flip inside. Now, I'll show it to you. Now, as I said, you've got to resist the natural desire to want to jerk the rope. If you're going to jerk it or snap the rope, it's not going to happen. You've got to keep the rope suspended in space as much as possible in the position that it's in. You've got to go to the rope. You've got to go to the rope in the manner that I explained this way. It's this. See, I jerked it. But here's what you got to do. You got to go towards it. See? Hold on, we get it. Boom, there it is. You see that? I think that really requires just another explanation. Don't jerk the rope. What you want to do is go to the rope. Keep that stationary. Make that a fixed point. See, there it is. I'm not sure. That's that. Okay, now, by the way, if you master that, you're not going to have many imitators. The next part of the routine is a kind of a comedy thing. You say, you know, I haven't been able to tie a knot in the rope in a conventional fashion, but I can tie a rope in an unconventional fashion, namely a slip knot. In fact, I can do it without letting the ends go. Look at this. I do that, which gives me a slip knot. See, well, what's going on? You're going to have to look at that from behind. What's going on is that the right hand crosses over to the left. All right, that way. And all right, now you're bringing that over. Notice you've got two spaces. You've got a large space on the bottom. That's the one when you're about that much extended, you go through, and you come back when you engage the top loop with the wrist. You hold that, and you pull this out, you tie that, and then you very slowly bring that there. All right. It looks almost legit, but if you do that, it's going to go. Okay. Now you can do this once or twice. What I like to do is I like to toss the rope out to somebody. I just toss it out to somebody they give it a try at times, and I'm just kind of standing here. Usually I wear a jacket, but you can do it with the pants. And what I've got, I'm just slouching, watching them. I'm watching them attempt because they're failing. What I'm doing, basically, I'm just repalming. I'm just palming a piece of knot, which I had previously cut off from another piece of rope, and I've just got that in finger palm. But you don't make a big deal. You don't palm it. Then you take it back and say, look, I'll show you one more time. Now you've got the knot. All right, and now and holding that out there doesn't at all change how you're going to do this. So you do this. Say, look, I'll make it one more time. You say, look, it's really, you hand one end to one person, you hand another end to another person. You say, look, now look, see if you can pull it out. And then you let that drop. As they actually pull it out, and that gets a big laugh.